I tested a big 3-step approach vertical, went for 400 by 10, made good on my front squat promise from last week, tried out the slingshot, and ran into a bit of trouble on deadlift. Big theme this week was not crashing and burning, so I'll talk about my approach to doing that. I got to try a lot of new dunks as well. Starting on Monday, because I had 1 in 10 patellar tendon pain on the Wednesday leading up to this, I went exclusively off the right foot and then did some right-left. It's a lot lower stress. I said I was going to front squat 330 for a 2x5, and this moved quite well. Afterwards, went for 400 by 10 on the low bar squat. On this channel, I've talked a lot about rejecting the mentality of fatigue and pushing past your limits. And I have considered whether one day that might be my fatal flaw. This week I was thinking about popular media examples of characters who have fatal flaws that are foreshadowed by the author, and then eventually it comes to pass. Imagine someone like Zion Williamson, who has all the talent in the world and multiple fatal flaws holding him back from reaching his full potential. I read a book series on King Arthur recently, and in this fictional retelling, he's basically too virtuous. He wants there to be law in medieval Britain, so he's trying to uphold all these oaths and forgive everyone, and it ends up leading to more chaos. If he had just put his foot down, things would have been better, basically. As far as overtraining, though, I think the qualifying question is whether or not what you're doing is a threat to the system or just radiostatic interference. Things like tendon issues, back issues related to the spine, and actual emotional distress are threats to the system. Anyways, I'm testing a 3-step approach vertical on this day because I became fixated on it. I took maybe 20 attempts. Yes! Yes! Acting like I just won the Olympics because that's how I treat training sessions. I did cut out the under both dunks and the plyos for the day because of how many attempts that 39 off the 3-step took. The diet was very strict this week and I felt low energy. My mentality was, if I can just lose weight, stay in one piece, I will be ready for a big week next week. All right, body weight update. By the end of the week, I was down to 192.5. You can see I'm taking a ton of attempts here at the clean because I cannot get my arms to stay straight. I think part of the problems I've been having with early arm bend are stemming from my narrow grip, which I made a little wider this week. I have had some shoulder discomforts with the wider grip, but I think I just got to figure out the mobility. I need to have a wider grip to fix the lift in general. The main thing I remember about this portion of the workout was being low blood sugar, but I did bench pretty well. 8 reps for those top sets, and then the Lou raises. Moving on to Thursday, I had 1 miss in the 3x2 of power and then full snatches. Felt really disconnected from the bar on this day. Starting with a narrower stance semi-negates the problem of me jumping out too far, but I think it makes my pull feel a lot less stable. 155 double. This is a terrible performance on front squat, but luckily, Lynx athlete Jason front squatted 360 for a triple. This is absolutely mental. He's actually a great example of how to avoid burning out. We've been doing a super intense squat cycle, and we made the decision to deload in week 3 to be safe, just because things were piling up, but holy moly is he strong. Okay, 2x6. I tweaked my back when I tried the 3rd set on the 3rd rep. Just a slight tweak, but it was definitely worrying, shook up my confidence. We're going to see what I do about that later in the week. On to push press. I'm trying to get behind my head a little bit here. I know it's kind of hard to tell with the angle. 5x2. My friend lended me a slingshot that actually fits, so I was able to pop a huge top set there. Slingshot is a massive confidence builder. And I felt like when I was going to go on rack my heavy bench later in the week, my heavy comp bench, that I would have more confidence even if the weight felt heavy. And on this day, it did feel heavy, but I was looking forward to this bench triple. I came into it ready. There's the second rep, reset, grind out the third rep. That 310 at the 192.5 body weight that I'm at is probably my best bench ever. Absolute grinder on that last rep of foam roller bench. So I'm switching to a more Olympic lifter style overhead press behind my head rather than my looking up super arch spine one. And I also have this behind the neck press, partially for shoulder pain and also because it may transfer a little better to the jerk. 3x10 of chin up here and on to some creative dunking. Well, this is actually under both here. I got up to 810 and tried a couple of times. I absolutely sold. I wanted to get the 3-step 810. Trying some game over dunks. That's what that one's called. That's an inverted scorpion off one. Another one. And then I attempted this behind the back 1 foot bounce. Didn't work out. We'll get it another week. 360 behind the back practice. That's a 9 foot 360 East Bay. Right, left, 360 Ziani. A couple of attempts off 1 foot. My standing vert is not going up, man. Throw in here. This was fun. Sprint timer absolutely sold on my fastest rep of the day, so we'll never know what I ran. Some creative movement and falling stuff at the end here. On to Sunday. So the Thursday and Saturday sessions weren't the best. Coming into the Sunday, I really just wanted to get a productive session in. That was a PR on hamstring curl. 2x8 and then 110 for a single. It felt pretty darn heavy off the ground, but I didn't miss once on this day. That's going to build confidence in my snatch. And then I did another 5x2 on the clean, trying to keep those elbows straight. Refine my start position a little bit. Here, I feel like before my dynamic start, I'm a little far over the bar, and I need to look forward and get in my posture because it's not a snatch, it's a clean. I hit a huge back warm-up with 45-degree hyper reps, side-lying leg raises, Zerker frog squats to get ready for this. Really focused on my brace, took it down 10 keys, and I did not have any issues with my back. Seated row going on here and some landmine single leg deadlift. Send me an email at linksathleticdevelopment@gmail.com if you need help with your athletic goals. Fitting last word today, Icarus.